Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Words I Choose to Live By. I'm Cyrus Webb, joined by our co-hosts Melissa Banks and Tina Siemens. Dr. Velma Bagby is out today. She had a death in the family, so definitely our thoughts and prayers are with her as she is traveling this week. But we welcome you guys tuning in on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and X. So glad you could be with us. Going to bring in our friends over on Instagram and on Amazon Live for today's show. And boy, do we have a great one for you as we're wrapping up what is a really, I think, a busy month for a lot of people in March. I hope you guys really take today's message. I mean, welcome those tuning in on Amazon Live for this episode of Words I Choose to Live By. If you guys are new to us on Amazon, make sure you guys hit that follow button either here in this corner or down below. You also will see my book, Words I Choose to Live By, and my co-host books as well. We'll be highlighting them as we're going throughout our show today. But Melissa, Tina, how we doing?
Doing great.
Very good. Thank you.
Look, glad to be able to have you all with us. I'm so excited about this message, but I think I'm excited about every message. But I think this is one that people really need to get. And so we're in week number 13 of my book, Where I Choose to Live By. The message is set your mind free. When you place limitations on your mind, you give yourself nowhere to go. Free yourself of what seems impossible, and there's absolutely nothing you won't be able to accomplish. And I was just sharing with my co-host here, I am living that right now. I just came up from a wonderful trip in Chicago, and if I had placed limitations on myself, I say tongue-in-cheek, reminding people I don't have a college education. I don't have broadcast experience. I don't have letters behind my name. I could use those as a reason why I can't do things. But what I have definitely learned in my life, especially over the past 25 years, is the importance of leaning into what I can do and who I am. And that has really helped me to enjoy the opportunities that have been in front of us. And that's what I think this message really pushes me to do. But Melissa, I'm curious, what about for yourself? How important has it been for you to set your mind free?
I think this is so important to where we go or whether we stop, right? And I've talked about this before. It's that conversation in your head that determines what happens next. So if in your head you're limiting yourself, in your head you're saying you're listing the things that you cannot do, that's where you will stop. And that's for me as well. And that's clear. Sometimes your head gets so cluttered. We look at other people and the success that they have, then we limit ourselves. We look at something and we think, oh, I could have done it better. We're at table with people and then we start comparing ourselves. So we put that language in our head that this is as far as I can go. I just think about my own self and my own career. If I had those limiting beliefs and leaned into them, none of this would be happening. I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you because I didn't have aspirations. I never thought that this is something I would do. When the pandemic hit, I was an event planner and that I was limiting myself to that area. So if my mind didn't open up to what could happen, that's where I would have stopped. And that's where everything would have ended, because everything that came after that is something that my mind never knew to think. But because my mind kept growing, I was able to achieve so many things that I never could have imagined. So to me, everything begins and ends with your thoughts and your mind. So you can limit yourself or you can push yourself forward just with your thoughts.
Yeah, such a great thing. Tina, what about for you? I know we've talked about before, this can sometimes be a challenge for us all, but how important has it been for you to set your mind free and to eliminate those limitations?
Well, so often people will say, oh, I'm at a standstill. And really and truly, if you think about it, you're never at a standstill. Either you're moving forward or you're slipping backwards. And for me to have realized that I am the one that can either speak positive into myself or negative thoughts, that is the determining factor. Will I be moving forward or slipping backwards? So for me to know that, like my subtitle of Seminole, some people never give up. I choose to be that person that will not give up. And if I don't give up, that means I'm in a forward position, going for it, even though it's you may not see over the hill or over the the fork in the road. But if you have a determination in your mind that you're going forward, then with that determination comes the push for yourself to do that. So it's that 7-inch game. Whatever happens between ear to ear is about 7 inches. And that is what we as human beings either let we're allowing us to be free, or we're keeping ourselves as captives.
Yeah, such a great point. And it's such a great reminder for us. I want to say again, for those joining us on the Amazon side, you notice as the co host are speaking, I'm highlighting their books. We are just highlighting Tina's newest book, Post Oak. You guys couldn't see it there. And while Melissa was speaking, we were highlighting her Dream by Design affirmations I always get this title wrong, for teen girls and their mothers. So you can be able to get those books and their other books too while we are having this conversation. But Tina, I want to push back on the two of you for a second, because I say in this message, free yourself of what seems impossible, and there's absolutely nothing you won't be able to accomplish. Now we know that, but what have been some of the challenges of you doing that, Tina, that you can share with our audience? That challenge of freeing yourself of that idea that something is outside of your reach to do.
Well, so often the way I grew up is not bragging or not talking. If I would talk about my accomplishments or where I've been, what I've been able to do, then I would have been taught you're prideful, you're uh, haughty, and that is what I had to am still working on, getting out of my mindset of so often your past experiences are either what keeps you captive, or you're deciding to let it go and set yourself free. So
Yeah.
for me to realize that what I've been able to do, none of the things that I've been able to do the last 3, 4, 5 years is because Tina Siemens could do it. It is because I was given the opportunity to do it and I took those opportunities. So therefore, I am learning more to be more bold on saying, yes, these are opportunities that have been given to me. And therefore, it's my responsibility. Yes, it's my responsibility to act upon those opportunities. Because if I have been given a gift and don't unwrap it, then what do I know what that gift is really about? So for whatever we are created for, God has given us the tools to really work that creativity. And for us to be able to do that, whether it's in writing or from myself opening up the museum, these were all huge steps. And do I really have the drive to follow through? And the beauty about it is you only have to do it one day at a time. You can have the bigger vision, but working through it and working in that bigger vision is only one day at a time, and therefore it's manageable. And so getting out of your own mindset of I can't or I will is the key. And I think God is revealing to me that, Tina, you were born for this purpose, and therefore I'm embracing it more and more. And I'm so grateful for both of y'all pushing me in that direction, because I, out of myself, could have talked myself out of it, and therefore many blessings to other people would not have been able to be there as opportunities for them to come and discover their history and their way of living.
Yeah.
By me and my knowledge that I've been granted, that is my duty now to share.
Love that. And thank you so much for that heartfelt expression, Tina. And it's definitely so true. Melissa, what about for yourself? It's very easy for us to focus on the negative, right? But as I mentioned in this message, to free yourself of what seems impossible, what helps you to do that, to free yourself of what others may say is impossible for you?
What has been big for me is what I share with so many other women that I talk to is I had these limiting beliefs. I had these beliefs that because of where I didn't grow up with money, I didn't grow up with people with a lot of luxury items. I grew up with what I needed, but not much more than that. So I felt like I had limiting things that I could do because of that. I also felt like because I spent 17 years in a domestic situations that I wasn't as smart or as courageous as so many other people. So I placed those limiting beliefs on myself. And then God turned it around for me. God turned it around and said that you don't have to be limited. Those things didn't limit limit you, those things are going to help you help somebody else by sharing those things. So when I stepped out and opened up my mouth and began to share the journey through those things and what coming through those limiting beliefs and tearing them down can do for you, then my eyes began to open up. Then I began to see what is possible. It all begins with sharing those things that don't seem good, don't feel good when you're talking about it. But that's when you help someone and you help yourself as well. So it's also, I'll just say this really quickly, that sometimes right now we can go back, we can reach back to that stuff and place those limiting beliefs on ourselves in today. So it is something that you continue to work on. Me, myself, I can get in that place, but now I have the tools, I have the resources to push me through those moments and know that there's nothing that limit me except for me, that God has already given it to me. I just have to reach back and get it.
Yeah. And also having people that could keep you accountable, I think, is
Absolutely.
important.
Absolutely.
Too, I think, we all need that. And I
Mhm.
think that is one of the big helps for our audience. I want to say, for those who are just tuning in, I see you guys over there on Amazon and also on Instagram. Welcome. You're watching Words I Choose to Live By. We're discussing week number 13 from my book by the same name. The message today is set your mind free. It's a great reminder, I think, for all of us, for sure. So I want to ask you this question then, Melissa, going back to our audience. What do you want them to know about the importance of removing the limitations in front of them?
It's important to your health. It's important to your well-being. It's important to you achieving the dreams that you were put on this earth to do. It's important for you, to the people that were assigned to your voice, to hear it, because you have to get yourself to a place. So when you find yourself listing all those things that you're not, you replace every single one of those things with something that you are, and that will push you into doing what you need to do. And another tip for you is to just never stop. Get up every day to do one thing, and then another thing, and then another thing. And when you look around, those limiting beliefs that have been holding you back, they start to fade. They seem in distance, and you're able to move forward.
Such a great thing. What about you, Tina? What would you say to our audience about the importance of removing the limitations in front of them?
Well, it's like you said in this week's on Tuesday, you're never too old or too young to make a significant impact. Every human being can make that impact if they choose to do that. So for me to hold myself back is really a determining factor of, was I supposed to be that voice for somebody else today? And I didn't follow through. So therefore, what God had intended for my voice to be to somebody else, if I choose to be quiet or if I choose not to share, then I may be hindering somebody else's pathway forward. So for me to be obedient in that which I was given, nobody else can do that, my job. I was given this task, and I am the one that chooses to be obedient and spread my message to the world.
Such a great thing. And such a great reminder for all of us. And I just want to say, too, as a final thought for our audience. Um, Not and Melissa mentioned this too, and I think Tina alluded to it. Sometimes we allow other people to put limitations on us, but the most dangerous things is to put a limitation on yourself. And I think, it's very easy sometimes to overlook what other people may say, and that's a good thing. But sometimes we have the difficulty of putting ourselves in a box. I've done it too, so I can speak from experience on that. But I really hope this message, and as you go throughout this week, you think about that the only one who can limit you is you. And I think if you remember that, whether we're talking about what someone else may write, what someone else may say, or what you may even think, that you're the one that has to hold yourself accountable. And I think that's the main thing for all of us. So great reminder, I think, for all of us. No one is immune from this because it can happen to anyone. As Melissa said, there are days that all of us may feel that, but the important thing is to realize that we hold the key to our freedom. And it's up to us to be able to use that. Great message, everyone. So I want to go to Melissa. Melissa, let our audience know, how can they stay connected with you?
While you were talking, I briefly looked down, and Friday's message says, real joy can be yours when you stop measuring yourself by others and realize that you were designed to be the absolute best you possible. I
Yeah.
absolutely love that. And that's just a reminder. You can stay connected with me at themelissabanks.com. Everything is right there. All of our messages, some of our messages on our podcast where women share their journeys and how they were able to push past those limiting beliefs. All of that's right there in one place at themelissabanks.com.
Love that. Thank you, Melissa. Tina, what about for yourself? How can our audience stay connected with you?
Well, like Melissa said, we are the key to spreading the message. If it is up to me to just plant the seed, then the increase might come from somebody else. So be obedient and do what you are called to do. You can stay in touch with me as Seminole the book, or go to Tina Siemens on the different social media platforms, and you'll see our past podcasts, and also stay connected with me by giving me a message. I'd love to hear from you.
Love that. Thank you so much for that, Tina. And thank all of you for being with us for this week's episode of Words I Choose to Live By. Hope you guys heard something that will inspire you, but also remind you. Of course, as we meet with you guys next week, it's hard to believe we'll be entering April, which is crazy. But again, don't let this week, don't let this month go by without you realizing that you have something special to share. But it's up to you to share it. No one else can do that for you. You have to be the one to take the lead. So we appreciate you guys joining us online. Also, those tuning in on Amazon. Also, those joining us on the radio at Max WYAD 94.1 FM, WYADonline.com. Until next time, you all make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.